Hey there, thanks for joining us at the Rabbit Hole of Research, where you'll learn a few facts that you can impress your friends with at a party. Hey, welcome back to the Rabbit Hole of Research, down here in the basement studio for another fun episode, part of our October month of horror. So we'll have three tasty episodes for you. So this one here.
We are known for our horror here.
We are. And the breaking news.
Breaking news.
Well, breaking news. Maybe we'll get another breaking news this year. I don't know.
If something big happens, we'll find out here first.
We'll see. This episode has been a long time in the making, probably for me since 1982. And we're going to be, who goes there? The Thing and The Shape of Paranoia. So all things creature related there. So we should have some fun. We have actually not only the full crew, we have a full house, every mic in the studio.
Plus hot.
Plus Zoom. So we have 5 folks.
I'm sorry, who are you?
And how many of you are actually
That's right.
Am I sure you are who I think you are?
Maybe none of us are who we are, but I am Joe.
You got Nick.
We've got Nick.
Supposedly.
And Georgia.
We've got Georgia. And guest number 1.
Hi, I'm Bill Halliar. I'm a artist and designer, work in television and film and comic books, and I'm here for the horror, guys.
Here for the horror.
Here for the horror.
Yeah,
Oh,
yeah.
my.
Here for the horror. And our other guests.
Hi, I'm Todd Thyberg, and I'm a designer, artist, letterpress printer, and I make books with my letterpresses. I work in fiction predominantly, but then I also do a lot of social justice work as well. But Who Goes There and The Thing are like my favorite story, and they're a big part of who I am today.
Awesome. Yes, I
Yeah,
agree.
you know what? I'd like to say
so.
just at the top here, thank you for giving me any excuse to rewatch The Thing, reread Who Goes There,
Yes.
go through my comic bin thinking, I know I read a comic about this. I don't care
Yeah,
if
yes.
the internet says it doesn't exist.
Yeah.
And I found it.
Oh,
Yeah,
nice.
yeah,
Oh,
no,
damn.
there's a few, right?
Yeah,
Was that Dark
yeah.
Horse? Dark Horse did that?
I
right?
found a straight up adaptation that I read when I was a kid. I'm pretty sure it's the first time I came across any of this material. It was a 17-page adaptation that was published in like 73 or 74.
Okay.
A company called Whitman Comics.
Interesting.
They had a magazine
I
called...
think I have that.
Yeah.
All right.
I think you should have
That's
brought it along. We
awesome.
could
I was
take a
going to say,
picture.
you didn't
Someone
bring
needs
it
to
for
take
show and
video.
I
tell.
own it. I couldn't find it. I tracked it down on the internet.
Oh, I got you. You
so
verified.
I do have CBR I can send you guys if you guys read digital comics.
Yeah.
But I went through that because there's a piece in there that I always remember when I read the books or watch the movies that aren't, it's not anywhere
there,
else.
right,
It's like,
right.
where am I getting that from? And it's from this comic.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I want to mention, too, that this is a second episode for you, Bill.
Yeah.
It is, yes.
Coming back.
You're only the second person to come for a second
Really?
time. So
Yeah.
it's
Oh,
pretty,
wow.
that's pretty big.
That is, I feel,
Right.
thanks, guys.
But it all depends on the order of these episode releases.
Oh,
in
that's
October,
true.
so
I guess I
it
didn't do
could
so
be-
badly last time.
Yeah. Yeah, that's right. So,
Were you able to find it?
So I picked this up at a comic show recently. It's Questar.
Yeah, that
Illustrated
collects all
science
those.
fic-
Yes.
Yeah. So it's like Golden Press, but it's got Who Goes There in it.
That's the one.
Yeah.
This is the one you read as a kid?
That's the collection of the ones that I read as a kid.
Oh, gotcha.
The one from apparently the magazine at the time was called Starstream or Slipstream, I believe, and they only did 3 issues, and then other company years later bought those issues and collected it into that graphic novel there. So that has
Wow.
that
Oh,
is
damn.
that
Ah, that's
adaptation.
so cool.
That's cool. We'll put that in the show notes.
But yeah, that one really, I stumbled across it at the Goodwill when I was probably 11, and it was costing
there it is.
me a quarter or
Here's the
something.
title.
Who goes there?
Oh, damn.
It's
And-
pretty
Nice.
fun.
In that one, Blair falls asleep on the block of ice that they just cut out and they're transporting back to their base. And he's so tired that he falls asleep on the block of ice and has nightmares, maybe psychically transmitted by
Right,
the alien
right,
within.
right.
And I always think of that, and it never comes up again in the movies, and it's not in the book. They
Right.
just made that up from, inferences and stuff in the story. But my mind is, wait, where is that part?
You're like, I
Isn't someone
know.
going to fall asleep on that thing?
Yeah. I
Hasn't
thought there was
anyone
some
taken a
poor-
nap yet?
Yeah. No,
Right.
Not enough naps in John Carpenter's movie. That's where it falls down for.
You need naps. I'm gonna take a step back because
Because we
I feel
probably need a
very-
list or some
I
sort
know,
of.
I
you
feel
know.
very like
We're just.
I want to give my definition
We're
or my grounding,
Yes.
and I have a list.
We're just really excited
If
to
you can
talk
humor
about
me,
this.
It's so exciting.
If you can humor me a little bit. And then I do have a list, and we can add and argue. But actually, this has been a while since I've given a list right off the top. But I'm going to do this thing here. So I wrote something special, because the thing is special to me. I think, as Todd said, I saw it in 82. I was like 7. My dad took me to see it. Probably not advised to take your 7-year-old to see the thing, but it did. It truly did.
But a
Probably
4-year-old
shape
is cool for this,
I
right?
can imagine.
I got a 4-year-old. So I have, the thing is a self-replicating polymorphic organism composed of functionally autonomous units capable of assimilating and replicating the form and behavior of other organisms at a molecular and cognitive level. The thing is a horror-made flesh, an unknowable, uncontainable intruder that weaponizes biology and identity by undermining the metaphysical distinction between self and other, revealing the fragility of human perception, trust, and cohesion. Who goes there? And on this episode, we're going to find out who's who.
Ooh.
Very nice.
Ooh.
And then, just to ground everything,
There's grounding in this one?
There's grounding. In the hand wavium soup, we'll try to ground it and get someplace safe. I have, as rules and assumptions, watching the movies, the stories, Carpenter, Watts, just going Campbell. And so I have these kind of 8. I only had 7, and I ran a list actually past my youngest son, and he added the 8th.
Nice.
So I'm gonna give him credit for the 8th one. So I was like,
Very
"Oh, what do you think of these?" And so
He loved the movie.
He did love
we,
it,
we
yeah.
went. What anniversary? It's
the 40th.
is it the
Yeah.
40th?
I think he's
Like we recently went to the movie theater. Whenever it was released, and we took Xavier, and he's, oh yeah, I think we need to watch that again, like the next day.
That
every
is
day he's
yeah.
like
a
watching. He's
dream
like,
come
I'm
true.
going to,
That's so cool.
I'm going to figure out who's who. He was like, really? He's like, he's mapping it. I'm like, wow, you should focus on your schoolwork like this, man.
How young did you expose him to it?
He was a teenager.
Show him at
so
7 as well.
He was not 7. No, he was.
He was.
It was a few years. Either it was 12 or 13, something in that ballpark.
Ooh, perfect.
Okay.
Was that right? Yeah.
Yeah, if it's even been that long.
Yeah.
But like
yeah. It's whenever. Yeah. No.
in the
Actually,
last
no.
couple of years, it hasn't even been
Yeah,
that long.
that's
has
right.
it?
Yeah.
So he's 15 right
15
now.
right now. Yeah. So we can do the math later.
12 or 13 sounds right.
Yeah.
That's, I think
That's
it's
the kind of stuff that'll stick with
It was
you.
right after. It was like right after the pandemic. It was a good time to go see the thing.
Oh,
you know,
man.
we can go to a movie theater with a mask on. So I have these 8 kind of rules and assumptions. And we can add to them, or you guys can scratch some of them if you like. 1, to have any biomass can be assimilated, not just humans. 2, each assimilated host becomes an independent replicator. 3, replication is cellular. No need for the full organism to act. So it really happens at the cellular level. It can spread via blood, aerosol, or tissue contact. Detection is difficult, especially early on. Assimilation time ranges from 10 minutes to a few hours, depending on proximity and complexity. One fragment can start over, like a viral pandemic with perfect self-replication. And the one that Xavier added, it can survive extreme cold temperatures for extended periods of time and heat, fire.
It's very true. It's
those
like
are-
an extreme of fire.
It's like
Oh, you're bringing this one back?
We're bringing it back from the Fantastic Four series. If you haven't checked that out, go. But yeah, we
Months ago, Jordan. Months ago.
as many times as I could say that
we
word.
did. Yes, the thing
I
would
like
be
to
an
say it.
extremophile. Yes.
Now I have this unholy union of the Thing and a water bear, like in my head right now.
Yes. Yeah, so the tardigrade.
Yeah.
We were like, oh, it doesn't come up that often. And now,
No, it's everywhere.
everywhere you go, the tardigrade. Yeah, so that's what I had for the assumptions of the thing and maybe rules. I don't know. So I don't know if I missed something or you guys. The one I held on after I read it was the. Actually, I don't know now. Never mind. The detection is difficult, especially early. I think
I
at the
think
early on state,
detection
you might.
is
Yeah.
difficult even not early
Yeah.
on.
Right. Right.
Wasn't that the whole point?
Right. Yeah.
That
Well,
it
I
was
think,
I mean,
hard?
there's certain ways. It's just depending on what scientist is figuring it out.
yeah.
Because in the prequel, the 2011, The Thing, they were looking and eat everyone's mouth. Let me see your
That's right,
fillers.
yeah, for the fillers,
The
right? The
fillings,
non-materials,
right, yeah.
or you
Mhm.
have the clothes rip open. Like that was the theory that you shred your clothes, like you lose them. But no one's running around naked, so I
Yeah,
don't know if
a lot of that.
that was that's not it. They got redressed at some point.
Yeah, despite the different deaths, like everybody
Yeah.
always seemed to, their shirts were
That's right.
intact.
They had pants on,
You know,
That was
they were
something
no longer bloodied.
in
Yes.
Watt's story that he addressed a little bit that I thought was very interesting. His take on that. The longer that it's been in you and
Mhm.
how much of it you've been exposed to, it may just be in there, hanging out, learning things, and not really affecting anything
Right.
else.
That's right. Yeah.
Until maybe
Yeah.
it's all you. And then
So it's almost like it's dormant a
Mhm.
little bit, or not dormant, but
it was
Or it's-
sneaky in his.
Or what percentage? Because I think the one thing that no one talks about is that not only is the thing mimicking human cells in function, but also we have a lot of other organisms that live in us, bacteria, fungal,
Oh,
and on
right.
us. So there are these other species. That's why that any almost biomass can be converted then technically, because if your gut is still filled with
Right.
bacteria that you might just have a lot of intestinal kind of griping
Mhm.
down there as the thing comes in. So it's fascinating.
If you can subsume any sort of creature that you on the planets you land on, like you can certainly
Right.
do their microbes as
That's right.
well.
Mhm.
Yeah. Yeah.
I basically watch The Thing once a year, at least. It is
Me
a
twice.
part of my
Yes.
DNA.
Yes. I'm trying to find a
Oh,
holiday
all the way down to your
associate-
DNA?
Yes, all the way down.
Man, it got in you deep.
yeah. Is there a certain time of year you find yourself
Obviously,
lying on? More in the
Halloween
win-
times,
or
roll around.
maybe
I pull that out.
winter, like it's
But
really
definitely
cold.
when
Yeah.
I usually get a call to watch all like his unofficial Apocalypse trilogy,
that's right.
Carpenter's Apocalypse trilogy with the Thing, and then what's it, Darkness?
From New York.
No,
Oh,
let me see. I wrote this down because I knew it would go out of my head the second I knew.
Mouth of Madness, and then
The one in the middle is
I'm trying to.
the one I always forget.
You said
for some
Darkness,
reason.
and now I'm like,
Yeah.
Now you're stumping us.
So
know.
it's The Thing, and it's Prince of Darkness,
Prince of
and it's
Darkness.
In the Mouth of
Oh.
Madness.
Okay.
And if you extend a little bit, there's Cigarette Burns years later, that like short film he did.
So do you
but they-
watch them like boom?
Yeah, like one sort of initiates the other in my memory. And I'm like, I gotta watch this other one. And they all hearken to the end of the world in some way, in different ways, but
Right.
they're really interesting together, which I like sort of the ideas that they bring up and then play off of each other. But so I watch The Thing all the time, but I haven't read the original story, Who Goes There, in ages. I'd forgotten quite a bit
And
of it.
there's a really nice letterpress copy that you did.
And it's
Oh.
beautiful. I will be getting one.
here we go.
That's what this is all about. It's selling
That's right.
a bunch of these books, isn't it? It worked. Damn it.
That's why we have people on the podcast. So that's-
So there was quite a few things I forgot about the story. I was pleasantly surprised how much of even the dialogue I recognized, that Carpenter used in the film. But there was a bit in there where they're talking about the cows that they have. And they go to check on the cows, and then they come back and say, the cows are all dead. We killed them. They were all things.
right.
And one of the guys sitting there freaks out and rushes out into the Antarctic, apparently to
Right.
die because he just drank a bunch of the cow's milk. Cow that wasn't a cow.
Oh.
And then they test the milk and they say it is.
Yeah.
It's as cow's milk as cow's milk as cow's milk. And I thought that was a really interesting thing, that the cow wasn't a cow anymore. But it was such a perfect adaptation,
And it made milk.
that it made milk.
Right, it made
and
a
the milk
product,
was
right.
okay.
So that
The
guy
milk was
pretty
how you
much
expected
doomed the
it.
world, though.
But I don't.
Right.
I don't understand why in that scenario that the milk wouldn't have thing particles
Things
in it.
Right.
I
That you could
I feel like
de-
it's a convenient
Talk about
narrative.
detection. You should be able to detect
This
something.
was
Right.
the 50s. They didn't
Yeah.
have, quite as high levels.
Sophisticated,
Exactly.
analysis of
testing,
their
that's right, yeah.
milk.
Who's who's
And
analyzing
then
their
at
milk
what
anyway?
point does the cow stop being the cow and become the thing?
Yeah, and I was going to ask
And I
that,
think
yeah,
that's like
yeah.
your point. Like, at what point do you know what I mean?
Mhm.
Is the
I've always
host
I've always thought it's more almost like viral, or it needs to reach a tipping point
Mhm.
before you're like, especially in the original story of Who Goes There, he talks, or No, I guess it's more in the things, because you're hearing through Peter Watts, you're
Right.
hearing the viewpoint of the alien, but he's trying to, gain control, and how sometimes he's just, I just feel like I'm wearing this skin.
Yeah.
And then,
right.
so maybe it is that up until a certain point, like so many hours or whatever, where it can multiply and take over the cells. But yeah, you'd think the milk would go bad.
I wonder
or
which,
it tastes funny.
with that kind of, to play on that idea a little bit, does it matter how the thing gains entry? So if it actually takes over the brain cells first, does it have now cognitive control versus if you get a cut on your foot or something like that?
So
and it takes some time for it, because it has now to assimilate all the foot cells, come up to leg cells. You
Right.
have this whole process. I mean, once you get to the bloodstream, potentially, then you would have this kind of movement. But it's then, would you be, as a human, cognizant of it? Oh, something's wrong with me.
and I can feel it coming.
Yeah.
Right. This part is being disconnected from my
So-
body. All the neurons and everything aren't firing
Right.
correctly. I got a dead leg now. Why you got to lift there all of a sudden?
I'm trying to remember. Is there a clear way that the thing infects someone?
It's just
That's not really.
particles.
That's not really.
That's fast and loose. It's kind of
Yeah.
like zombie biology.
Yeah.
It's like sometimes one little particle can do it. Sometimes you got your hands, arm deep into a carcass and like pulling out organs, and everyone's watching. It's like everyone there is infected now. I just want to say the scientists there.
Oh boy.
They have no fear.
Every
it's
time.
just loose and fast with the science.
Not a good
And,
representation
I have
of
to
the
watch like
scientists.
a million videos every year for training about biosafety, like what to do with needles and how to do this and how to take gloves off.
Is it bad? That
It's
caught my
just like-
attention
it's
too.
just kind
I was like, this is definitely going to be a Joe thing where he's, "Man, they shouldn't do that. Like,
Every
they should be
time.
wearing some kind of sleeves going in.
There's
and-
some protective.
yeah.
You've got Wilford Brimley, Blair, walking around, pointing out this still steaming carcass on the table.
It looks hot.
And I know people say if you look really closely, his pencil doesn't touch it, but he taps at it, he points at it, and then almost immediately
He just writes
puts
it
the
up-
pencil
yes, in his-
against his mouth. And I'm screaming inside the whole time.
like,
oh my God.
Do not do
No,
that.
please stop that.
It tastes like
I
raspberry.
mean, I'd rather him just start licking it.
I love
just
it.
being like, let's see what this tastes like.
Yes. The one with the dogs, they burn the dogs all up, and then they go in, and he's just cracking.
Just
So look at this.
he's
There's,
in
I mean, there's
Those
particles
thin
flying
nitrile
in. Right.
gloves.
And these the thinnest gloves one could get. It's for your pleasure. It was like on him. He's in there. It's like just.
They
all right.
might as well just be food
Yeah, it
safety
was like-
gloves.
Brimley
You
is so
don't
good
have to
at that.
guess when they lock him up. You're like, oh yeah,
That's
he's-
right. Yeah,
yeah.
that's done. Really, then I'm looking at everyone that's around. Who gets close? Oh, let me see that second intestine that you pulled out there. It's as he's going through the whole. Just really digging in there.
He's
he
really
was-
getting his hands in
it's
there.
just like,
Read that I think that might have been something to do with the effects guy, Rob Bottin, who was like, originally they had this going to be this creature. We don't know what it is yet. We haven't made it yet, but there'll be this creature stalking around. And he, being like young and crazy, was like, how about it's like different every time we see it, partially in between changes and this and that. And so it's never the same creature. It's always a different one. And I can drive myself to the point of exhaustion making, multiple different versions of these things. Every time it's a new horror, and that might have been where that sort of came from. And that does, it is nice. It does leave
I
open all
think
sorts
that
of questions. I
that
don't know
works
how.
perfectly with the story.
Yeah. It
The
works
fact
really
that
well.
it does shape shift and goes to all these things, so it makes sense that the creature itself would be.
Yeah.
but
Do you know
it's-
what I mean?
But it was also that thing. If Blair, let's say Blair got infected
thing.
pretty early on by the thing, and then he goes lock the body up in a little coat closet with, then you have the next couple people in there with it. I mean, is it now, like really thinking and strategizing? How do I spread myself to others? Because the thing does a great job at hiding itself. And it does a really poor job at hiding itself. And it usually breaks out at the most inopportune time. And so you should really just stay quiet. This is the time you stay quiet.
How are you making it through the galaxy
yeah,
like
right.
this?
It's like kind of,
you are going gung ho.
yeah.
It's just why?
Here I am now. Like when he went in the dog kennel, he could have just chilled out.
Yeah.
But then it was like, oh, there's 4 other dogs in there. I'm going to get them. This is my time. Like, there you go. And he obviously, or I'm saying it obviously had dealt with dogs before and
Right.
understand that once you rope the dog with your coily, stringy stuff and juices, that they're going to freak out. And then humans will come. And is that his strategy? I mean, is that the strategy? Once the humans come, then I can spray them. And it was an interesting thing. Like, what was the strategy with the dog kennel? Because he could have just laid back and then went and bit people and licked them. And really, it could have. I keep saying he. I don't know.
I think that the theme is like universal bad decisions. Like just later when you see like people going out into the dark by themselves,
Right.
or, don't go up there. There's a killer in the basement or whatever.
Right,
yeah.
right.
Right.
Even brilliant space creatures are like,
Right,
do
right.
That makes
We-
me feel good about the world.
That's right. Yeah.
We all
Yeah.
have.
You can just do it. You'll
got a
survive.
chance.
Yeah.
I don't know, for the listener, we're drawing from 3 like major texts here, right? Like
Yeah.
you got the Who
Okay.
Goes There,
So Who Goes There by John W. Campbell, 1938.
right?
We have The Thing from Another World, 1951. That's a black
Okay,
and
and
white
that
movie.
was a movie. Yeah.
We have
the Howard Hawk.
Howard Hawks. We have The Thing, 1982 by John Carpenter. And then we have The Thing, the prequel, 2011 there.
But it's also just called The Thing.
It's called The Thing. And then we
Confusing.
have The Things by Peter Watts in 2010. That was a short fiction
Which was
that was written
fantastic.
from the perspective of the thing.
I had not read that
Yeah,
one, and
yeah.
it knocked my socks off. I seriously, the last sentence knocked some wind out of me. I was like, oof. When I read the final sentence of that story,
It hits like a punch.
it was a physical punch to my guts. But he deals with a lot of some of these ideas in a very interesting way.
right.
And the original story does too, that you can't quite get across in, action horror film. But there are some interesting things in there about, in Watts's specifically, that the things, the creature is letting those things happen as, sometimes as distractions,
Right. Yep.
so
Yep.
that,
Yep.
it can continue to do other things while everyone is rushing around trying to track down a monster. It's still a dog somewhere or one of these other guys, and it's doing things,
Yep.
I mean, Blair in the movie is in that hut for days building
That's right.
a
That's right.
spaceship.
Well, there was, so
You know?
technically, I mean, at the dog scene, I'm going to go back to
Dog scene in.
The Thing, 82 Carpenter. The dog actually splits off and then goes out somewhere to either assimilate into another dog or do something out in the wild. And so you had that scene. So not only was Blair out there, but there was another fully formed thing that was out there running around and running off somewhere. You're right. It was one of these things where they never really, no one ever said, where'd that thing go?
Right.
It was just gone. Like they flamethrower, Childs came up to flamethrower, they flamethrower.
That's probably a good thing
and
to
then it was
ask.
like, well, it said, let's go out and find it, right?
Either
Let's-
that or just let's not
go look
worry
for
about
it.
that. Let's pretend that didn't happen.
But this gets to a point that it's not just assimilation either, because that dog, it developed a lot of biomass that it just is. So there's some, rapid growth factors that's happening. I mean, it had arms. It really reached 10, 12 feet. I don't know how tall it was, but it reached up with strength, pulled itself out. So he had all these scenes where it wasn't just, I'm making another Bill. It's like I can actually do other stuff on the fly, and that's probably pulling from some historical DNA. Does it have like many copies of species DNA that it can pull from in some conscious way? I mean, it really. I started thinking about that as an organism.
That's always what I
didn't.
imagined. Like the things we were seeing, especially in that scene, where we get that at the end, we get that like flesh flower.
Yeah, the
that
flower is
blooms
coming out. That's right.
From
I
the
thought
head of the
about that.
dog.
Yeah, yeah.
Like, oh my, this is some sort of alien creature that it is assimilated eons ago and is just referencing from its like memory banks of anything it's ever been. And if it's got enough biomass, it can just recreate whatever that is.
I mean, that dog didn't have a lot of biomass.
No.
I mean, I think
But
if we did the
technically,
math,
he was also attached by its tendrils and stuff
Yeah, but
to
he
a couple
wasn't.
other
I mean,
dogs. and could have been drawing in.
That was a lot. I
It
mean,
was a
that was
lot.
like $10 worth of biomass.
But that's where in the things, like, so when I talked to Peter Watts about this, he was just like, that was one of the things that he was he tries to fix some
Yeah.
of those
Mhm.
little
Right,
errors.
right.
Like he was in the things, he refers to it like eating all their food in the background and then
Right.
not knowing
Right.
it.
I see.
But like, yeah, it does certainly grow exponentially.
Because
There-
not only you have the biomass, but you also need the energy, the calories. So even though you're
Mhm.
eating all the food, and we can,
How many calories does a human
know,
have, Joe?
how many calories does a human have?
Yeah, if you were to eat a human body.
Was it
We've
a
talked
couple?
about this
Yeah.
I
before.
feel like
I
we
think.
have, but I don't remember.
I think it was like 100,000? I mean, it was up
It
there.
was a lot.
Yeah, yeah. It was enough for someone to turn into a werewolf.
Oh,
That's
that was
okay.
last Halloween
That was last
episode.
Halloween episode. That's
So
nice.
I'm just thinking about in nature,
Yeah.
like creatures that are parasites,
Mm-hmm.
and then also there's creatures that can change. Like I don't know. I don't
Yeah.
have anything
No,
specific,
no, I mean,
but it just
yeah.
seems like
Yeah.
something in nature is
I mean,
similar
it's
to
like a
that.
chameleon.
Yeah,
I mean,
well, like
have
a
those
butterfly over its
butterflies,
lifespan
that's right.
does completely physically transform
Right.
at some point.
Yeah, and actually, it juices itself
Mhm.
down, and then it reforms out of that. So it uses that biomass, it converts it down to basic, like a soup, and then
Which is amazing.
reforms out of it. Yeah, so that was something there. But yeah, there's nothing on Earth that we can directly compare
Thankfully.
to the thing
That we know
I mean,
of.
unless we are there right now, we're there. But there were a lot of things. And I mean, just thinking about it, we've formed relationships or with things over time at the cellular level. It's mitochondria and chloroplasts. Those are organelles in eukaryotic cells. So our cells have mitochondria, plants have chloroplasts, so does photosynthesis. But those organelles used to be free living organisms that were eaten by something else and then incorporated to do work for the cells, and then they became larger, more multi-complex organisms. You know, that type of thing happens in nature. We have mind-controlling organisms. So we have, cordyceps is all the rage right now. The parasitic fungus, the
Those wasps that
the
can
wasps, they get infected, they do
Yeah.
things. Toxoplasma gondii, that one's really cool. That can actually infect mammal brains.
It's cool unless it happens to
creepy.
you.
In particular, if people don't know, it infects rodents. So its life cycle is multi-organism. So it infects rodents, and then the rodents can become infected, and then they become attracted to cats, which will kill
Wait,
and eat the
what
rodent.
kind of attracted to cats? What?
It aggressively goes after the cat.
not sensually. Not,
Oh,
yeah,
okay.
No, right. It's not. I mean,
I was
maybe.
like, hey, cat.
Have you seen that? You don't know.
The rat doesn't live long enough to really get
You're
his
right. I'm
attention
not a
across,
scientist.
right? Yeah,
I'm not a
that's right.
sexy scientist. I shouldn't have. I'm outside
Yeah.
of
Hey,
my
kitty
bounds.
cat, what are you up to?
And toxoplasma it actually can infect human brains. It actually will. So if you have a cat, like an indoor-outdoor cat, and you change litter, you probably are infected with toxoplasma.
Oh, Joe,
And-
you didn't tell me you
They
were.
warn they warn a lot about
Yeah, that's-
if you're pregnant, you really are
Right.
not supposed to change cat
and that's why.
litter.
Yeah. If it's an indoor cat, you probably don't have a lot to. You probably don't have to worry unless you got a rodent problem. Then you probably do, especially if they're playing with the cat. I think, like in Tom and Jerry, I think Jerry was infected with toxoplasma. He
Definitely.
he really challenged Tom a lot. I mean, he was in his face
Should've
quite
just
a
left
bit.
him alone.
That's right. It was like the thing. It was like, what are you doing there, guy? Come on, let's back off of him. Yeah. So toxoplasma is one there. We have organisms that do gene transfer, horizontal gene transfer. So different species. So agrobacterium. So agrobacterium is really well known in the molecular genetics community, especially with plants. It's a bacterium that can transfer DNA from itself to a plant. So it's used for a lot of modification. So gene modification of plants, GMOs, that was the kind of breakthrough technology, understanding and hijacking that for our purposes. But in the wild, it does it all the time. So it will have these kind of transfers like that. So we have things like that where you can move DNA, 20 different species. We have cell mimics. So there's things that will digest other organisms and use their bits. So there's the sea slugs that will eat algae and then use the chloroplast to do photosynthesis in itself.
Okay.
And so, so we have all these things. We have bits. We have all the makings of it. So we just get some funding, get in the lab, and we can do it.
Stick them together.
In the 51 film, they said something about the material of it being plant.
Plant-like. Yeah.
So they said that it could pretty much be an intelligent carrot.
Yeah. There you go. It
So
could be
is the
Groot.
thing a carrot?
It's Groot.
It's a carrot.
That's what they had. It's 8 feet tall. It had arms and legs.
Yes.
I just
it was
wanna see
it came out. It was like I am Groot. That's it.
Oh man, Groot has a
That's right.
lot of-
Groot is the thing.
That was an interesting take. It was an interesting take. They really did make.
Yeah.
They changed a lot of the story. And
It
made
was just
their
like,
own
why-
with that,
Oh, what?
Yeah.
He's going-
which is funny because really, for me, I love the special effects in the thing. A visual guy. I draw that kind of thing all the time. Tentacles, twisting veins, and things like that. But the real scare of the story for me is the that whole you can't trust anybody anymore.
Yeah, that
What-
paranoia, right?
Definitely.
who is who,
Yeah,
and
yeah.
that story
Yeah.
doesn't need any special effects
None.
to be
Yeah.
told.
No.
Exactly.
In the 50s,
that's right.
they still could have made
Yeah.
a very convincing version of that story with very few special effects,
But-
they didn't need a big monster rampaging through the hallways. They could have just, hinted
Right.
a
Well,
couple of things here and there, and then let your imagination go with.
Right.
now
I was
who
going
is
to
it?
say that I'll have to look it up and put it in the show notes, but Invasion of Body Snatchers, that was the 50s, right? That was
Yeah.
all in that time. Paranoia, it wasn't the 50s, it was in the 60s. But yeah, you had that, if it quacks like a duck, it looks like a duck,
Right.
and it's a duck. You had that same idea. And then they remade it in the 70s, the Donald Sutherland movie, where, but the special effects wasn't, I think in that one, the Donald Sutherland, Spock, and Jeff
Yeah.
Goldblum. They were all very young Jeff Goldblum, I believe. I don't know if he was young. I don't know.
They
He's
all were.
always very
They,
young.
they
Yeah.
all were
But yeah,
pretty
we did.
young.
But
Yes.
that was the idea, the paranoia, because you work your way through
Right.
that movie, who to trust, who can't you trust. And the special effects wasn't, besides the big green pods
Right.
with some, vines hanging off of them. It wasn't. And no big monsters. Really, the
Right.
monster was
I
at the
do-
end when he opened his, that, like you said, that gut punch of an ending.
Yeah,
That was,
terrifying.
yes. Yeah. But
In doing all the research for these books and just knowing what had come before and not wanting to do the same, like I just learned a lot about them, and that apparently it's really supposed to be about communism, like they're
Mhm.
Yeah,
about
the
the
book one, that's
communists,
right.
and it's
Right.
like, well, make it an alien instead.
Yeah, that makes
Yeah.
sense.
It was really like that post World War II
Mm-hmm.
kind of, and this whole idea about the atomic age and
Yeah.
not understanding the atomic bomb and all I think that had a big influence on
right,
that.
that's right.
But-
And it was the 51 movie was set in Alaska to
Yeah.
go with that paranoia from world to post-war kind of paranoia and communism that was very different than the other ones were set in Antarctica.
And I love that John Carpenter was a young boy and watched
Yeah.
watched the 1951 movie, and that had such an effect
loved
on
it,
him.
yeah. Not so much the monster, but yeah.
And then when
liked the
he
movie.
did his movie, we had Reagan, the kind of, and also the Cold War
That's right,
kind of
yeah.
thing.
Yeah.
So in some ways, those themes were repeated.
Came back in.
Yeah.
I don't want to muddy the waters with one more extra story.
Oh,
but
please.
in looking back into this stuff, digging through it, right? I started checking out, was it Campbell? My brain is shot. Yeah.
Campbell
And
wrote the story.
He wrote a story a couple of years before Who Goes There. He wrote a whole bunch of stories. He's a very prolific author before he became an editor. And there was apparently a very famous author who he either died or he quit. And the magazines asked Campbell to fill the hole by writing a similar kind of story, sort of like upbeat, humorous stories about a couple of scientists who go out doing things. And so he came up with these guys named Penton and Blake. And he wrote a couple of Penton and Blake adventures, and one of them was called Brain Stealers of Mars.
That's awesome.
And in that one, it is a great read. It's pretty quick.
that one needs to be
It's
made.
very
to-
pulpy. It's Penton and Blake are these seriously two-fisted atomic scientists who they're on the run from Earth because it's illegal to do atomic experiments on Earth, and they did it anyway, man, because they know what they're doing. And they not only did they do it at the beginning of the story, they've done it, they've cracked it, and they've used it to power their spaceship. So now they can get to planets that no one has been able to get to.
Right.
And which is good because they have to get away from Earth because they're on the lam now. And they land on Mars, and they start seeing trees that look like trees from Earth. And it's weird until they go look at the trees, and then the trees are different than they were when they saw them at first. And then they run into centaurs. These are the creatures that live on Mars, these centaurs. And it turns out that those trees are another creature that lives on the planet, a shape-shifting creature that eats their children and takes the place of their children.
Right.
And
Wow.
they used to have a problem with it, obviously. But since they can't tell the difference between the children that were real and the children that are the reproductions, they've stopped worrying about it. And for generations have just lived alongside these other creatures, these mimics. And they're just like,
What do we do?
what do we do? All right. And but our American boys, that's where the story
How
goes.
I
Like,
stopped worrying.
they're like, no, we are leaving now. And it becomes this huge deal where suddenly copies of Penton and Blake start showing up. And they've got to get away from the planet and get back to Earth without these mimics coming back to Earth. And there are sections in that story. I don't think they make it into the published version of Who Goes There, but there's that Frozen Hell.
Frozen Hell?
Yeah. There are passages in there that are almost word for word where they're like, if a thing got stranded in a desert, it could just make itself a cactus and get along just fine. If a snake tried to bite it, it could turn itself into something that couldn't be bitten by a snake. And, you know, he rattles off these great things that this creature could do to avoid, you know, dying and live basically anywhere. And I was like, I recognize that. I just read that.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah.
But that was definitely where that, like, where he first had that idea and was playing with it in a much more comical, but still really
Right.
freaky way. And then a couple of years later, he dusted that off and went at it from a different angle for Who Goes There. But I'm interested in what you think about this idea that, like, all right, the thing's here. Some of us are things.
Let's just deal with it.
I can't
right?
prove you're the thing. And even if you are, you're just as good at Georgia as you were before.
Maybe better.
You know, in the Watts story, it's that the creature is going for advancing species. It's like taking things over and bringing, in its mind, bringing the worlds together and bringing them to a higher, you know, more perfect organism. And in this story, it's perfect camouflage in a, like, a really disturbing way to me.
Right.
Coming to terms with that was super creepy.
That's a feeling you got at the end of Body Snatchers. You know what I mean? I don't know.
We almost you start talking like a ship of thesis kind of thing where
Right.
you're going like after some point, almost doesn't matter, right? It's are you still the same or have you changed enough to be something different? Are you really a different Joe
Like,
or
and I
different
think
Tyler, Bill?
it's the idea that we're losing
Georgia,
our
Nick, right.
humanity. And
Right.
you know what I mean? We don't want to lose our humanity.
Right.
Yeah, and you have that. I mean, that was
But
anime Parasite that you had that. So that was the same thing. Alien species comes and it infects people. If it goes through like the nose, mouth, ear, it gets to the brain and then they become a parasite, whatever, this alien creature. But the protagonist of the story, the alien, goes into the arm because it was like dying or sick. I can't remember that. But it went into the arm and then just the arm was the alien, but the rest of the body and the brain was human. You get some mixing and stuff, and the episodes go through, and that's really it. What is humanity? What are you struggling for? And that's that same kind of idea. Looking at where do you draw the line
Right.
between humanity, other, you know, the thing, like, you know. So at some level, but if you're cognitively making copies and assimilating, are you assimilating and then using that and maintaining that
Right.
level of humanity in yourself, or, you know, bringing other things to the table that you have?
Just the themes of that just so reminiscent of colonialism, of just, oh, you're an uneducated heathen. Let me introduce you to the ways of the universe.
Yeah,
Just
that story,
scary.
man, that final line in Watts' story just blew me away. And he did a beautiful thing there. The paragraph leading up to that, the creature is musing and sort of like contemplative, and things sort of ease off and chill out a little bit. Oh, okay, this creature's okay. I see, and then bam, it's all,
can you see that story being adapted to a film or something visual like that?
it's all
Like,
internal, and I don't know how you would do that so easy. Somebody could do it, maybe somebody great or somebody, but it would be really hard to do. I feel visually. I don't know. What do you think?
Yeah.
I haven't thought about that, but now that, it's all It is. I mean, that's what my illustration challenge was with my editions.
Mhm.
How,
Right.
it's the alien talking and thinking and trying to understand why these people are so bad to it. You woke me up and now you want to kill me. What?
Right,
I just
right.
want to. I just want to show you what I know. Or no,
I
I'd
wonder-
love to see it in a film.
Yeah.
One of the interesting things is after the thing assimilated somebody, let's say Blair, because he probably was the first, I think Blair probably was the first fully assimilated. Let's go with that. Let's say one of them. But what the thing could have spoke through Blair and communicated with the humans in some way, because you would have.
But humans
language.
are brash, and they'll.
Yeah, but you could have pulled. I think you probably could have chatted with somebody and be like, "Hey, guess what?" Or
Pull
given
somebody aside.
tipped off with the
Guess
science, like,
what?
hey, instead of going crazy, because that was the thing about Blair, and I pick on Blair because I think he was digging in, and he should have been assimilated. If he wasn't, so when he destroyed the communications and went crazy, and they locked him in a shed, I guess the assumption was he had not fully assimilated, maybe. So he might have been struggling his humanity versus the thing in his mind. Maybe he was his intelligence. He could actually parse that, was thinking about it, and knew, oh crap, I'm infected. I'm going down. And then when he got to the shack and was like, hey, I'm okay. You can let me back in. Was that now the thing? Like, hey, you can really trust me again.
I love that.
I was just
Right.
one of those things. It's like, hey, I hear noises. And
I'm really much better
that's
now.
right. I'm really.
Oh,
I'm actually A-okay now, but yeah, you're 100% thing now. Maybe back then you were 50-50 and you were really struggling against, this entity in you and couldn't communicate that. You just raged up because you were, with the lizard brain might have been all that was left
Right.
of the human. The humanity was reduced to the lizard brain, and that was, let me protect, he had all those numbers in his head, which
I always thought that was that was possible. I don't know.
Yeah.
Oops. I always thought it was possible because in the book they kind of make a big point about not destroying the radio equipment.
Right,
And
right,
even
right.
go so far as to talk about creating fake broadcasts back so that everyone thinks that they're okay and nobody sends out a
Right.
search party
Yeah.
because a search party until they deal with it
Yeah.
one way or another, even if that means death, until they deal with it, a search party would mean infection for the world. So there was a bunch
Right.
of stuff of them
so like
talking about like
the
Yeah,
reporter was
right.
wanting to
the
get out
reporter
there.
wanted to get the word
Right.
out, but
Yeah,
you
so-
also had, which was really clever in a narrative device in that story, was that you had the paranoia still of the Cold War and
Right.
keeping secrets. So really, it was like,
You mean of the
yeah, in there. And
Of
so
of
were they
the-
were they thinking of this as a weapon? Can we weaponize this? Because you always,
Ooh.
like the alien, we need to weaponize it.
Right.
Let's, we,
Right.
T-Rexes weaponize it. That's
Right.
like,
Can I put a machine gun on it?
rate the weapons. Can we make
Right.
a weapon out of this thing? Then let's go. Your green light.
Can we put a laser on its head and have it
right.
attach?
like anything? Man, this thing's gonna eat everybody in the world. How can we turn it into a weapon?
it already is, guys.
It's just, we need
that
to
sounds
control
like
it.
a good weapon.
I think we can control this uncontrollable weapon. Okay. Yeah, let's do it. Okay. yeah. But no, I wonder if that was part of that in a really nice narrative kind of setup that you had. Whereas you're in Antarctica, you have people coming in probably to check on you, supply drops and things like that. I had friends when I was in grad school that would go down and stay at the science center studying Antarctica plant life. And so they would go and stay down there for months at a time and then come back and they would talk about the supply drops and things like that.
Did they
And the
ever
other thing
watch
is-
the thing while they were there?
I didn't ask at that time. But the other thing is that alcohol was banned. So you weren't allowed. I mean, people smuggled it in.
Sure.
I mean, like anything, but you weren't supposed to. It wasn't actively encouraged. So I always think when I watch the thing and he's got his JB and he's just, I'm going to go to my shack and get drunk. It's just with his sombrero, it's just kind of.
I actually do have a problem with one of the first scenes in the thing, the John Carpenter
The
one.
chess game?
No. So when they were doing that was funny too. But when the Norwegian guy came in,
Yeah.
the guy inside busted open the window to shoot
Oh,
him.
right. Yeah.
Windows aren't easy to come by out there, right?
Yes. Yeah. They blurred
I'm
up
assuming they'd be thicker than that.
You mean they were Swedish?
I thought he was Norwegian.
No, I'm messing with you.
I was like, wait.
That's right.
I was like, I watched the movie. I know the film.
I was hoping I got to do that, but yeah. So, thank you. Thank you very much.
Oh, jeez.
But
Yeah.
I'm
it shouldn't have
assuming
been that easy to.
he just busts it open with his hand, and it's
And a quick shot, too.
Yeah.
I mean, that was
very little aiming.
right there. No aim. I mean, he didn't even do the neck twist and sight it up. It was just go for it. Yeah.
I don't know.
but-
I would imagine they would have thicker glass.
yes.
Yeah.
But
And it would also be frowned
Especially-
upon to just break open a window.
Why
to
not
start.
open it and go out and that's, I don't.
He
yeah.
walks out the
Right.
door the
That's
very
right.
next
Yes.
scene.
Right.
Like
right. Yes.
seconds later, he's out the door.
he's got to protect his men.
There was an active shooter situation.
it was.
You don't know what
Somebody's
you would
already
do.
shot in the leg.
Shot in the leg, a dog's licking them.
Yeah.
It's right there. You can just do the count right there. Like, but all these folks are infected, but then they're really not. Like when they did the blood test, which once again, can a thing, if it's a conscious organism, can it choose to display pain or not? Like you were saying in Watt's version, that it was doing these things to be a distraction. Was it really reacting to the fire?
Right.
Or was it just putting on a display because now it set people up? They're all tied to a couch and things like that. They got them lined up in a row, and this is it. Distract here. Palmer can split his head open, and blood flies all over an aerosol. But
In the original story, they talk about the possibility of it leaving them sort of as food for later. Like having taken over a couple of guys, it knew that they're in the middle of nowhere, and it knew that it might not see any more people for a little while.
right,
So it could just not, it didn't have to take over everybody. It would just take over people when it needed to eat or
but
when
I mean,
it needed to do something.
was it eating? It wasn't eating. It wasn't feeding off people.
That was their conjecture. They were still talking about it at the time.
Oh, I see. Okay,
if,
how it worked. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I was like, that's not it. It would just eat regular food, I would imagine, like a can of beans, like whatever
Right.
they had in the pantry.
Or it could. I mean, as we use our stores of fat. Maybe
Right,
it
that's right,
could
yeah,
use our
yeah.
stores of fat as well to.
Or did it use the stores of fat to assimilate? Fat cells are human cells, so are they now thing cells?
Thing
Yeah.
fat.
Thing fat, yeah. It's the new,
But also to
new
like
weight loss plan.
the whole idea
The
about this communist scare and who's a communist and who's not. And there's those scenes where there's those posters about venereal disease and who could have it, and they're official, like from the government. Do you know?
Yeah.
So
In
it
a-
like
in a-
totally feeds on that whole like paranoia and that.
I love it too that they have those signs up in the base where it's all men. So what does that say? I mean, a little progressive there. It's like I was gonna add something because we had the Campbell story. I was 38 in there, but DNA as a hereditary agent wasn't really known until 44. So when that story was written, it still wasn't quite how's that functioning? How does it act? I think people had idea, but the actual DNA molecule, and that's a thing in the cell that's doing the job, that was around in. And I'll put that in the show notes, that date, make sure that's right. And another movie from the 90s, The Stuff.
Oh yeah.
The Stuff, a little B movie, and it was these guys are out mining, and then they discover something's bubbling, and then they eat it for whatever reason.
I remember.
It's really.
I remember
it
very
tastes like
clearly.
ice cream. Yeah, it's
A homeless
No,
man
that's right.
stumbling around, and there's just white stuff bubbling up,
Right.
and
Yeah,
he makes that sound like
It's
takes
easy,
a bite,
yeah, right.
loves it,
Yeah.
starts digging it out of the ground.
Yeah, they go. Yeah, it's like the whole thing. They start mining it, and it's just this random stuff coming out the ground, and it's similar. It takes over. It's a parasitic kind of organism that takes over and does that. So that came to mind as we were talking, that you have this, and then who's infected with the stuff and who's not, and then it's just out in the stores, like the grocery stores. Like,
Right.
how do I get the stuff? There was like a jingle in my head. I can almost hear it still. I haven't seen the stuff.
It's a cautionary
fun,
tale.
I have
it's
not.
a fun watch. Like, it's just, if you're gonna take over people, that thing needs to do that. Just get an ice cream, man. You're there,
and you're in
the
trouble.
milk, the cow's milk.
Yeah. Just a little sugar, a little vanilla.
That's right. You've got it. You've got it there.
This totally doesn't have to do with the thing, like the science of the thing or anything. But I didn't even realize it was Howard Hawks that made
Oh yeah.
the 1951 version. And when I read that, he's one of my favorite. I mean, he made so many movies.
I'm a huge fan of like.
But Bringing Up
it's one of my
Baby is like
favorites, yeah.
all-time favorite. And I think to myself, how did that same person make Bringing Up Baby?
He
And
was like the producer of it, but there's a lot of talk about he did a lot of directing of the film. He was on set and making decisions and stuff.
And the
like,
Big
and it
Sleep.
feels like a lot. All that like people talking over each other, you know, moving around as they talk, and you know the even a little bit of sexual tension between the secretary and the captain.
Right.
You know,
Right.
like that's all very Hawksian.
yeah,
You know?
it totally, once it came to me, I was like, oh my gosh. And I didn't know, but Howard Hawks was born in Goshen, Indiana.
Oh.
Here we go.
I didn't know that. So anyway, I just thought I'd throw
Hoosier.
that
I
out.
should have known it.
Yeah,
Who's
you
all
should've
along?
figured it out. I mean, I enjoyed the movie 51 because there's just like two botanists in there on a team. I mean, botanists were very revered scientists back in the day, and if people don't know, I'm a PhD in botany, so that's it. So I
They're
always
real
love
smarties.
movies when it's there. You know,
I had a real question for you.
Uh-oh.
Head scientist sort of makes a turn. Like in the story,
who goes? Which story?
in Hawks's
Okay,
the thing.
Yep.
The guy with the turtleneck, right?
Yeah, the guy with the turtleneck.
Yeah,
He
yeah.
starts off, okay, he's a scientist, you know, and the government rushes in and just starts taking over. And so you're a little bit on his side, you know. Hey,
Right.
he's out here
Yeah.
doing his job, trying to figure things out. These guys come in and just start telling him what to do. But then he slowly, he's the quintessential sort of crazed scientist where like
Yeah.
the science gets in the way of everything else till at the end he's like telling everyone that we should all die. It's more important for this thing to continue living so that it can be studied.
Right.
But
Right.
there was a real disconnect for me. Yeah. If you're all dead,
Yeah.
nothing's going to stop the next group of people from also being dead. Somebody's got to survive so the information can survive. The science is great. I love it, you know, but if you don't have someone to pass that science on, this thing's just going to kill everybody,
Yeah.
you know?
I think also in that generation of movies, the scientists, they knew a whole lot about the alien with very little information. And B, they always wanted to communicate, be friendly. You know, the idea that if you travel light years, you have the technology to travel light years away, arrive on Earth, that you'll have transcended the follies of mankind.
You must be an advanced
Right.
species of some kind.
Except, you know, if we humanize them, then, and we go, they're going to act just like any other advanced species. When they go somewhere new, they usually go with guns ablazing. Like, they don't show up like, you know, peaceful usually. I mean, we haven't. So I don't know why we would expect, like, where's this expectation now? Oh, they're going to be so much more different out there. They'll have seen so much more and traveled. Why are they traveling all this way to get here? You know, there's got to be some this exploration. So you have this thing where, and I think a lot of the scientists were like that in those movies where they were like, hey, let's give them the benefit of the doubt. Maybe they have something they can teach us. And, you know, yeah, they can teach to take over. You know, it's like, that's like it. So I do think it's funny. And that's, you still see it. And I think Mars Attacks poked fun of that. Yeah, that was a very fun, because that was like that whole homage to that genre of sci-fi movies and stories. That the scientists were always, hey, let's be friends. You know, they can teach us something about something that we don't know. But I know everything about their anatomy. Got it. Oh, yeah.
It's an interesting contrast between the two, the Hawks version and the Carpenter version. I mean, not like the original had so many people. I mean, it was just like this big military base versus what, like 12 or
12.
10
That's right.
in
Yeah.
Carpenter's, which just makes it
Yeah.
feel so much tighter and more
Right.
paranoid ridden.
Yeah.
Isolated.
Claustrophobia, really.
Tight timeline, too,
Yeah.
because
And also all men.
all men,
Yeah.
yeah. Yeah,
Oh.
the original, the 51 movie had at least one woman.
I think there were
And the
two.
prequel had,
two, yeah.
yeah, two.
You know, the prequel had a couple, yeah. So, yeah. I think they could have used a couple women there, and I probably would have, hey, you know, we should wear different gloves, bud. You know?
Are you sure you want to be licking that? What are you doing?
That's right.
It's fine. It's imitation.
Yeah.
The eraser. Ugh.
Yeah.
Did you just lick your eraser?
No, I'm just making the
Right.
motion.
Oh, I thought you did
Whatever.
it anything. I was like, you shouldn't do that.
Todd, we need some blood for the Petri dish test. Come on, flamethrower it up. That's an official test we do at the lab. That was in the videos I watched. If you got questions, Just do the Petri dish test. Go ahead. And so, Todd, as a questions, as you went through and you put together these stories, I mean, did you find what was the connection or threads and things like that, between the thing as a creature? Because it's presented different in some of these stories. I mean, were there threads? I gave my list of what it can do, maybe from a cell point of view, but from a narrative point of view, I think that was
a pretty comprehensive list. Like in doing the things I spent some time in a phone call, or I asked Peter Watts a bunch of questions, and to hear I think he's a zoobiologist. Like I love the amount of science that he's bringing to his science fiction, like Adrian Tchaikovsky, his living creatures just feel so realistic. It's like my take from the stories is just like, this thing seems it's like the pinnacle of evolution, even though it's not evolution, it's, something different. But, talking about the distributed intelligence and how would that work if the beast gets too big. Now you've got latency issues with communicating, and just, I don't know, as an artist, like hearing, like just learning so much about biology was just, I don't know, I found like pretty
really
amazing.
Cool. Yeah. No, I always think of fungal slime molds.
I was thinking a lot about fungus this time. Yeah. I didn't know about it much as a kid, but since then I've learned a lot more, and it is very fascinating. And is
that from your beer drinking?
The thing. No, it's growing in the corner of my studio, and don't look at it, and no one will worry.
Yeast is a fungus if people out there in the world. Yeah.
But I thought Watts really brought some really cool things to the table.
Yeah, definitely.
To think about, and talking about the way he embodied this intelligence. It seemed to have come across, obviously, vast distances. It's come across who knows how many planets and assimilated them or gone through them in some way. And a big surprise for it was how different this planet was and the creatures on it. And it seems like hundreds of planets that it's been on, it hasn't come across that. And I was trying to wrap my head around what that other thing was. Obviously, it's marveling at the idea of a brain, a centralized brain kept up inside of a skull and like being protected. And that is a weak failure point. Anything's got to just attack that head and the whole rest of that body is done. What a terrible design, So what is the opposite of that? What has it come across? I mean, it obviously has some way to think in every cell, right? In some way. So each cell is its own thing. Each cell has its own brain of some kind. And then when they link up, they commune and share what they've learned when they were apart, and they grow, and, their knowledge grows that way. What does a planet of creatures that look like? What does a planet of creatures look like where there aren't things with heads or brains, where things change shape as needed for?
And do you have to be multicellular? Like you could just be like a biomass, right? We think about bacterial mats, interactions. There's cheats in there. There are suppliers. They have communities. There are,
or are they just
bacteria.
nomads?
Right, and they just go around. So maybe on their planet they could be the microbes and the high, the quote unquote evolutionary higher organisms. Humans, octopuses, whatever you want. They have evolved that they maybe are gut bacteria. They just live in it. So they're the gut bacteria. So they went to some planet, someone pooped, and then now they've infected, and now it's, oh, hey, we're free. We can do all this stuff. That's if humans go to other planets, exoplanets, and we do that, we're not careful with our waste, then we would release organisms that may become, symbiotic, like chloroplasts and mitochondria. So they could then go in and now co-op cells and become part of the organism and do that. And so these things had to come across other intelligent species that knew how to fly spaceships, and travel across the galaxy.
Didn't you have a theory about it being connected to
the Predator?
Yep.
Yeah, I had the Predator. I think any of these creatures that come to Earth, was the ship that crashed could have been, a Predator ship potentially. So you have Predators going on all these planets, hopping around. Would it not hop? It found the alien. Why couldn't it hop to a planet that had been completely assimilated by the thing in this way? And then it became itself. So we got back in a ship It's going to this next planet.
Mm-hmm.
They go crazy, like in Antarctica. Now it's 13 predators in a ship just, killing each other. And then they crash land. They're 8 feet tall. They're ugly looking. And, one of them thaws. And there you go. You got it, 100,000 years ago there, or whatever that time stamp.
Man, you got to think that is a heck of a trophy for a predator.
That's right.
Planet-size intelligence, something that...
Yeah, it didn't work out so well, probably. It's like they're coming back. Hey, we got it. We did it.
So you're saying there's essentially one portal to Earth, and like all these aliens, like ET went through it.
That's
and
right. Yeah.
all of
That's
these-
right. Yeah.
So they're all, they might run into each
That's
other.
right,
We
yeah.
could have Predator
Yeah,
against
yeah,
ET, and that's going to be sad.
Planet
E.T. is going to
Chewbacca,
destroy Predator.
Yoda's
That thing
planet.
is a predator of itself.
What's the midi-chlorians of the thing? I mean, is there a
Oh,
thing
boy.
Jedi? Out there? Are you? Hold on. Are you Master Jedi? Or Yeah, no. You have that. No, I think you could see the thing. I mean, if it's out there, it doesn't take a lot. So that means if let's say the thing ship, luckily, crashed into the Antarctica, but if it crashed into
Nebraska.
somewhere else, right? Yeah, I'm trying to think 100,000 years ago. Yeah, Nebraska or
Right, someplace would be dug
South
up.
America or near the equator where it wasn't frozen, it might not have died. I mean, you have all the biomass, so every plant, all this biomass would convert. So that means anything that came across this biomass would now all of a sudden be infected.
Yeah.
So I mean, that's so if it just landed in an isolated jungle, all that biomass is converted. So when you go through exploring, so all these explorers that went out looking for gold or whatever, and they didn't come
They
back,
just disappear in
maybe
trees.
they became the thing. They just slaughtered each other. So you can start really spinning that off. But it crash landed in Antarctica, which was smart because then it froze and, was resilient enough to actually be thawed and then come back. And speaking of that, I had thought about some numbers. I like thinking of numbers.
He
But
just likes numbers.
Blair had 27,000 hours. I don't know why he doesn't say approximately 3 years, but that's about 3 years to infect all life on Earth. And so that, sounds like a lot of time. But I think just looking at it, that started going through different scenarios, the pandemics we've lived through now and ones that have happened in the past, kind of a few different models. Maybe like the one in Antarctica, you would have this infection. Probably containment would happen pretty quick. It would burn itself out, kind of like Ebola. So Ebola is one of these viruses that you get, you bleed out, you see people bleeding out, and you go, whoa, let's get contain, and you can actually isolate it relatively quickly.
Keep your pencil away from him.
Unlike, a very successful virus like HIV or chickenpox. I mean, they hang out and you get shingles later in life. I mean, right? They're very good viruses. Sexually transmitted viruses are extremely good in humans because they just hang out and do their thing.
Wait, what? Good? Why are you
I'm
saying
just saying
good?
they're good at what they do.
They're good at do.
They're good at being viruses.
They're good at being viruses,
I
right?
was like,
Because
Ebola's
they're
not so
good
good. If
virus,
you-
I enjoy having them.
If the
Because-
virus presents itself too fast, and actually then, it's
kills
cycle goes-
everybody,
kills
and
everybody,
then
so it's
it can't
100%.
spread.
And within hours, someone has it, then you're
It
going to
can
be
be
able to isolate.
stopped.
If
So-
you have something like COVID, where COVID was perfect because it was like, I don't know if you're sick or not. You might be a carrier, you might be infected. It have this latency period where it was like you just could have it for a week
Right.
and spreading it around,
You're
and then
moving all over the
right,
place,
so
dropping it off.
So
here and
that
good-
there.
one is
Good means it can stick around
from
and
the
spread.
virus's
spread
perspective,
easily.
not from the human's perspective.
Yeah.
Not from the infected. So I had it.
And then you've got
Go ahead.
and then you've got half of the population who's just, I don't
That's
thing.
right.
I'm not
Yeah,
worried
right.
about
Yeah.
that.
Yeah, I know they're not.
Let's have a party.
So I had, there that if the outbreak is misidentified as some sort of neurological or viral illness, instead of being truly the thing that's assimilating, you start doubling every 12, 24 hours based on some of those assumptions earlier. Governments are slow to respond, which we've seen in action. Human mimicry, right? We could have at the higher tops that the thing might infiltrate way up politicians, and next thing you know, we've got you're probably
Wait, they aren't
50%.
already?
There might be mad cow. That's the mad cow conspiracy, right?
I would think they'd be better than this.
Yeah, 50% of
True.
Earth's population, probably 50, 60 days. And then total global assimilation, maybe 90 to 120 days, a few months, 6 months.
That's not a lot.
And then society would collapse. You know, people would be in bunkers. You would start. But yeah, if biomass can be converted, then the minute you start, like everything then goes, all the trees, like once you do that, then
What about with those
it's
all the
getting away.
toilet paper people are stocking up on?
I mean, I don't know. I'll still be there. I think the things would eat and still poop. I mean, if they assimilate
You think they'd
completely,
use
I think
our
they would
toilet
use
paper?
are they using our biology, or are they now, you know, like you said, I feel like in a skin suit, you know, and so if that's it. So they have a different internal structure maybe, but I'm sure everything poops. There was a book about it. And everything. Yeah.
Hey, I don't know where this is going, but
Yeah. And
Quoted, everybody poops.
I had that's right. The thing to everybody poops. No. And accelerated, you would, if you get to a major city, so you land in Chicago, New York, LA, Tokyo, Shanghai, some huge city, doubling every 4 or 6 hours, and you're really just spreading this around. You know, probably 1 billion infected. You start getting the numbers, you know, 15, 20 days, maybe total assimilation, maybe 45 days, and the total biosphere collapse, you know. So you would have just complete thing. This would be a thing planet. You know, it's a bug planet. It's a dead planet.
Like that last scene in Society, where it's just
Yeah.
flesh, waves of
Yeah.
flesh.
Very similar to, we had an episode, the gray goo model of nanoparticle kind of assimilation, where you would wash over, you know, and just once you have self-replicating, uncontrolled assimilation of some very small microscopic particle, I would just take over. You wouldn't be able
like
to.
you said, it's apocalyptic.
Yeah. But that is also assuming then
vision.
that it's not intelligent. If it's intelligent enough to stop and just,
Yeah. I
then
think
that
there's
can change things completely.
Two things. One could be your scenario, that it's intelligent and it doesn't really want to be all. But the other one is maybe it is intelligent and it does want to be all.
Yeah, absolutely.
Or it could be just unintelligent and just does it. You know,
Just
the thing
devouring.
does what the thing do. I mean,
That's
so
for
you
sure.
probably have three. That's right. And you wouldn't
Thing
really.
does what the thing do. Love that.
It's I know I should stop. Just like we know we probably shouldn't
That's
drive
right.
so much,
That's right.
but we do.
You shouldn't have another cookie,
Yeah,
but you
yeah.
know what?
It
Yeah,
looks so
we
damn
shouldn't
tasty.
Cut down this farce, but we need a few more cows. I mean, that's so that's you have that. So I think those are. But would you be able to tell the difference if it's happening, Bill?
Right.
Would you be able to go, I think the thing's really. So you'll be that scientist, like, I think the thing's intelligent. I can reason with
I can
it.
talk to it. I think it likes me.
Hey, buddy. Hey, Joe, what's going on down there? Hey, Bill, I'm doing really fine now. Let me
out, buddy. I'm good.
Maybe it's
I'm
time
all,
for me.
I'm all good.
Yeah, no. Yeah, and we come to the end. The horror episodes always go a little longer, so it's all right.
There's a lot to dig into.
I know. I have a question, and maybe Todd, you might lead us off, or maybe you'll pass it. I don't know, but I have the John
No, I don't want to
Carpenter's-
answer that. I'm
The
good.
John Carpenter Schrodinger cat, and I think that's the last scene of the '82 movie. We've got Childs, we got Mac Reddy there, we got Mac sitting there, and it's why don't we just wait here a while and see what happens? So we have the three, maybe you could say four, but pretty much three. Everyone thinks Mac is human, right? We can argue that maybe he's not. And I have three theories. One is Childs is a thing, and there's different reasons, and I can mention some of those if we want. Both are human. They're just there doing their thing. Or they're both the thing. I think those are the three scenarios that I guess you could say Childs is human and Mac is the thing, but no one ever says that. I don't know why, but we could throw four in there just for fun. If I'm missing one, just go ahead and throw it in there. But yeah, I mean, what do we think there?
I've always thought that Childs was the thing and that Mac wasn't. Just he's the protagonist. He's the man of bronze, essentially. But I know there's all sorts of theories.
Yep. Bill, what do you got? Not thought you.
Over the years, I've vacillated back and forth. I've even thought about Mac being the thing.
Yeah.
But I like the questions. I like the possibility. The ambiguity is great for me.
Yeah.
It's taken me a while to come to that. When I was a kid, ambiguity really got on my nerves. But as I got older, I started to see how great the ambiguity makes it stick.
I think that's
Even
the
if it's
beauty
upsetting.
of that ending.
You keep questioning it. You can't
Yeah.
because
And
it's not
everybody can have a different
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
You could talk
It's
about
like-
it. You can trot out why you think
Yeah.
McCready's not the
Yeah.
thing, or
Yeah.
why Childs is, and
The glint in
you
the
know,
eye,
and-
the
yeah,
Molotov
exactly.
And I think
cocktail,
you
yeah.
can, and you
That's a great
all,
one,
you
yeah.
all get the feeling, no matter who you think the thing is, we're screwed.
I still
You know?
That's
There's
game
definitely
numbers
a
there.
feeling,
You
yes.
got 50 days, man. That's
Yeah.
it. Because you know some scientists are going to bring it back. Let's bring these people. That's, you know what?
yeah.
I think we can make a weapon. No. Georgia, do you have an opinion, or you're?
No, I really don't know, but I actually agree. I like the fact that you
Yeah,
don't know.
you want to keep it ambiguous.
Yeah.
Nick, you got something? You got
I
a
think
horse
they
in a
both
race?
are.
You think they both are?
I
Yeah.
really do.
Yeah.
But it's like
Yeah.
still dormant enough to where
Right.
they're fighting, but they're
So
like,
kind of like
oh,
the Blair.
Yes.
The early Blair.
Yeah.
Early
Or maybe
Blair
they don't
right now.
even
Yeah.
really know.
Exactly.
Yet, you know, like
where
Yeah.
it's dormant, but
Yeah.
Yeah.
it's there.
Yeah.
They're gonna go and we got 50 days.
That's right.
Let's
Yeah.
figure out what we're doing with that.
Yeah. Some
Get
stupid
out that
scientist.
survival guide.
I read that there was a couple different endings filmed.
Yeah.
And that they tried them out in a couple test audiences too. They filmed one where it jumps ahead and a plane shows up and McCready's
right,
there
that's
and it's
right.
like, "Thanks,
Yeah.
guys, I'm real hungry. You know,
Yeah.
let's get out of here." And
Indeed.
the
There it is.
response wasn't enough to the good endings, the happy endings, to like say this is definitely the one we should go with. So they were like, let's stick with the ambiguous one
Yeah,
because
right.
it's a little more fun.
Oh,
People
yeah.
can mull over it, you know. But studios were not cool with things like ambiguity, and they're still not today.
No,
I
no,
mean,
you gotta.
when you spend
You want to tighten it up.
spend
This,
millions
yeah.
of dollars on it, you definitely have
Yeah.
to,
Yeah.
you know, stick it. And
Unless you got part 2 coming.
Yeah,
Right.
no.
Then you can do whatever.
You can do whatever
like,
you want.
it's like, all right. You know, and
What about you?
yeah, so I'm almost think that they're both human.
Really?
We come out, and I set this up earlier. There's a thing running around out there. I don't think he killed it. I think he killed the big Blair thing, but I think there was still some other thing out there. So I do think there's 2 humans and one
and
thing
something else.
still out in the wild. And I think Mac knows that, and he's sitting there. And I think Childs also has his suspicions, and they're just going to go, and they know it's the end. And those 2 protagonists, the heroes, that was, you know, Todd, you had mentioned that they're there. These, you know, neither one wants to really go down. They know they're going down.
Yeah.
And so it's, can they stay long enough to warn somebody? Can they stay long enough to go, there's something still out here. You should leave it alone.
That's a good question. How do you do that?
Yeah.
You've got 2 men
Yeah.
in this situation. Everything is destroyed.
Yeah, that's right.
Everything is
They're
on
going to die. I
fire.
mean, it's gonna,
And they're
What
in
did you
Anna.
guys do?
They're in Anna.
At best, a couple of hours
yeah.
Yeah.
before they freeze to
To
death.
death, yeah.
How
Yeah.
do you warn the
And that's
people that are
right.
coming
That's
to
right.
save you?
That's right. That's
That
right.
to find
You
your
pee
frozen
your
corpses?
message in the snow.
That's right.
Do not.
Yeah. In English and in Swedish.
Yes.
Was the thing.
Norwegian.
All right,
Yep.
I do have one more thing before we wrap up.
You want to know how many Big Macs it takes? No.
Yeah.
I do. I did have that, but if
Oh
you
boy! Don't
So-
tease.
The dude who at the Norwegian base who slit his wrist and
Yeah,
the blood
right.
froze. Is that possible for it to freeze going down like that?
depending on how cold, yeah. No, you
Interesting.
can. Yeah, it will freeze. You can do it, but yeah. So
What I didn't think was possible. His throat is also cut.
Exactly.
That's okay. That's
you potentially could cut your wrist,
cut your
and
wrist
and
and
cut your
slit your
throat. Yeah, I
throat?
think you could. Yeah,
that is
Yeah.
dedication.
yeah. That is a lot of the.
It's like,
that's-
I want to be dead.
yeah.
I want to
I'm
make
really-
sure.
There's no hesitation marks there.
Well,
No.
the problem is that this Norwegian base, they didn't get as far along in their science as Blair did, and Fuchs was it? Yeah, that every particle can do this, because then you would know bloodletting isn't the way to go.
Isn't gonna help
right?
you.
That you don't need. You're still going to be there, pretty much freeze to death, and that was interesting that they had it.
I know
And-
we're running along.
Or I think the other thing, did he kill himself not to become the thing?
That makes
that was probably why.
I've seen what's
Yep, that's
happening,
right.
and I want to be out
Yeah,
of this.
that's right. Yeah.
That's something that the movie doesn't really do a lot with, but I was really interesting in the book is this sort of how does the cells communicate so that if it's going to become McCready, it's
Yeah.
got to very quickly know what McCready knows to pass itself off.
Right.
It's not just a dog or a lion. Someone's going to say something to it, and it's got to answer back.
But I think
right?
that's that whole thing about time. that it needs to
At what
assimilate.
point?
There's some
At what
Right.
point? it
and
may-
is it the brain or is it just the body? Because if your body is just being converted and not your
Slowly
head, then
taking over.
you're still
yeah.
thinking you, and you can still
Mhm.
answer questions about your life and everything. But once the thing takes over, you're right. What amount of memories does it get? What command of memories does it have? Things like that. Which some would say it has everything.
It's got everything.
Yeah. Okay. You were saying, what was your?
So in the book, there's a lot of there's talks about nightmares. People before they're infected, just being in
Right,
proximity
right.
to it, are starting to have
Right.
nightmares and have weird feelings and images in their heads and stuff. There's this possible psychic link,
Yeah, that's right.
Yeah.
that is a very interesting piece that is really hard to do in a film, but it does show up. The idea is in that A Prince of Darkness, Carpenter's next apocalypse movie, where they're like getting the dreams from the future. This idea that it's psychic, and even when it's frozen there, it's still active mentally in some way.
Yeah.
Even if it's not doing it, it could be dreaming, and we're receiving its alien dreams and
Right.
driving everybody
Right.
a little crazy,
Like, yeah, that's some psychic kind of ability.
Yeah.
I also think at that time, like, ESP was like huge.
Very
I mean,
hot,
that
yeah.
was like, it was like, we're going to weaponize. What's,
Oh,
Gonna
right. I
weaponize it.
think that was the talk, like, that they're going to do LSD.
the Amazing
and,
Randy.
yeah.
Mhm.
LSD and and ESP. That was it. That was like that was the rage. We're gonna develop all these new age weapons. But yeah, no, that's yeah. But you're right. The book and the 51 movie both had that kind of psychological telepathy.
Yeah.
That you have this higher organism that can manipulate across mental distance and have this kind of control. But yeah,
It was great in this story how like
Yeah.
all these guys, these scientists were just like, if it's anything like the look on its face, it's evil and we must destroy it. Yes, look at that face. It's the face of pure evil.
yeah, that's right. There it is.
They were so quick to judge that thing.
Yeah.
Look at those eyes. The look in its eyes. If I'd known what that was in those eyes, I would have just destroyed it.
Yeah, we just blew it up.
Wow. Okay, guys. Yikes.
Yeah, I mean, it is
No
a thing
judgment.
evil, right?
Right.
That's it,
It's
exactly.
all judgment.
Cool. Yeah, so probably wind down a little bit here. You guys want to get anything cool coming out or anything folks they're all hyper excited. What
I'm
type
around
So, yeah,
October.
so,
I just sailed to Antarctica in
Yeah.
February, and so I'm working on some books from that. And
Wow.
one of them is basically I have a goal to, now that I've made an edition of Who Goes There and the Things, I'm writing and going to illustrate essentially like my own story in that
Yeah.
universe,
Oh,
and
that's
it's
so
going
cool.
to
Nice.
take place in the early 1900s. So it's sailing ships and
Wow.
people crashing on shore and stumbling into things weird.
Oh,
really
wow.
cool.
That's
Sounds
awesome.
excellent.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, you guys need
Wow.
to check out. And your website is,
Angelbomb.com.
there it is. So yeah, go check it out. Check out
Wow,
Todd's
that's
work.
amazing.
Really fabulous work.
Thank you.
Letterpress work and things like that.
Yeah, you absolutely have to check
Yeah.
out these
Yeah.
books. They
They're
are
phenomenal.
so freaking cool.
They're pieces of art and awesome stories on your shelf.
Bill, when you got anything
I
coming up?
don't
or
have anything particularly
nothing?
interesting going on. I'm sorry.
no
Just
cryptic
your
closets,
average,
nothing. No.
We've got some talk about the new cryptic closet coming up, but
Yeah.
that's not for another.
Yeah.
That'll be out next October.
Yeah, we
if
gotta
anything.
have a Thing S story in there, right?
So that would be
That would be-
great.
yeah, yeah.
I missed my chance when we did the 3D story in one of these books here. The thing is revealed by some UV light, right?
Yeah.
Is it in the
Yeah.
thing?
Yep. The thing.
Things.
It's
Yeah.
awesome. It's invisible to the naked eye. You
Yeah.
you put the UV light on it.
Yeah.
And you
Really
can see
awesome. Yeah.
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 We did a 3D issue
Yeah.
that
That's
I
right.
wrote a story for, but I just didn't have the time to work on. And me thinking was like, how can I do this differently than just a 3D story? I've got to always make it harder on
Right.
myself
Right.
for no
yeah.
particular
You
reason.
gotta do that. That's what artists do.
So I wrote a story
Yep.
about interdimensional infection, where a character becomes infected by something that he can't perceive. And the idea was that
Ooh.
when the red and blue would be printed on the page, but
Yeah.
you wouldn't be able to like suss out what was going on there with
Until-
the naked
right,
eye.
right.
And when you put on the glasses, it would like, if you look through one lens, you could see things normally, and
Right,
through
right,
the other lens, you could
right.
see that he's actually covered in invisible interdimensional
Right.
parasites.
Goo.
I
Yeah.
love that.
Yeah.
And I was
That's
working
cool.
on
Put on
actually
the
finishing
damn
that story.
glasses.
Yeah, another Carpenter favorite. They live.
Oh,
Yeah.
yeah, exactly.
Put on the glasses.
Fantastic.
You're going to wear these glasses. Yeah,
Wow.
cool.
Thank you again,
Yeah,
guys,
definitely.
for joining us.
Thanks so
Yeah.
much for having me.
Thank you. Thanks
Yeah.
for having me.
Yeah,
Any
the re-
reason to rewatch these movies?
Yeah, definitely. I mean, any final thoughts, Todd, Bill, as we're going to wrap up on anything we missed or you wanted to really say about The Thing and the Thing universe?
I'm much
I don't
better
know.
now.
Yeah.
I'm fine. I
You're
can come
fine
back in.
Watch Clark. Watch Clark.
That's right, yeah. It's the sweets. Cool. We have me, Joe.
You got Nick.
We got Nick.
Georgia?
We got Georgia. We got Bill. We got Todd. And
We went down some hole.
are you sure we went down a hole?
Wait, I think we went the wrong
Which
hole.
hole?
Which
Which
hole?
hole?
Oh,
Who,
God.
who goes there?
Is that next week? The witch hole?
That's next year's witch hole.
I want to be on that one.
Yeah. We love y'all. Stay safe. Stay curious.
Bye-bye.